Okay, welcome back. It's episode 3 of the Practical Wealth podcast. Today we're talking about KiwiSaver default funds and the $1 million question.
Cool, cool. So the average retiree's balance at the moment is $69,000. What do you think a comfortable retirement, just a minimal comfort retirement, do you think you need?
How long is this person living?
Probably till 90
90.
at
So
a
65 to 90,
minimum,
20
I'll say.
years. I reckon 600K.
Yeah, literally. It's just like anything over 600K, your bare minimum comfort.
Yeah,
So with the
I'm stoked with that.
average, with the average retiree balance of $69,000 at the moment, so that's only about kind of like 10-11% of
Right.
what they actually need. So I think, how do you think we bridge that gap?
Yeah, just comes down to education, right? Like, so sorry, did you say that 65-year-olds have $67,000 when they retire?
69,000, yeah,
69,000
at the moment.
at the moment, and
Yeah,
that's including KiwiSaver and all of their
just KiwiSaver.
just in KiwiSaver.
Yeah,
Right, right. Well, I think part of that is time. Like if KiwiSaver's only been around since 2008, so those guys probably haven't been contributing for a heck of a long time. I think that's one part. A big part of it is potentially fund types as well. Lots of people, when they first set up KiwiSaver, they just got put into a default fund, one of the really safe funds with one of the main providers, and didn't do any shopping around to see if there were any other better providers out there, more aligned to them, better
yeah,
returns, actively managed, and in the right fund type.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you want to explain a little bit more about kind of what a default fund is, how they end up there, I guess?
Yeah. So when you first sign up to KiwiSaver, you're going to get plonked into a default fund. Whether it's just you tick the wee box on your employment form when you started your job and said, "Yeah, I want to join KiwiSaver," they'll just chuck you with one of the default funds, um, and then from there, people just don't check it. They think, "I've got KiwiSaver, that's it." Um, but realistically, you should be going out, seeking advice, and doing a bit of research yourself as to if there are any better providers out there, and learning what a fund type is, and then switching your fund type based on when you need the money. Like
Yeah,
moving to a growth fund would be pretty massive, especially if you're in your 40s and then you've got 20 years until retirement.
yeah,
You want to make sure you are in a growth fund.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I preface this that this is not financial advice. If you want financial advice, speak to a financial advisor.
It's true.
um, okay, I've heard the saying that you could be in the worst growth fund in the market, that's always most likely going to outbeat the worst conservative fund and the best provider.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
why do you think that is? Could you explain a little bit about how, like, what a growth fund is and what a
mm,
conservative fund is?
yeah. I think a good thing to touch on with that is everybody talks about who's the best provider. Nobody's talking about what's the best fund type. It's always who's the best provider. And adding to your point there, fund type is probably going to have a much bigger difference on your KiwiSaver balance when you retire than the provider that you're with. Um, the difference between, okay, taking it a step back, you've got 3 main fund types, right? So your conservative fund, it's really low risk. It's generally invested in cash and bonds. And that one's going to be one that ideally just goes up with inflation. It's really stable. There's not much volatility. What volatility means, if you don't know, is it's up and downs in your balance. It's fluctuations as the market changes. And then your growth fund, so it's the completely other side of that. That's going to be a more slightly higher risk fund. The reason it's deemed as higher risk is because it's more volatile, so more up and downs. And that's predominantly invested in things like shares and property. And those are things which can and over the last 100 years have gone up at much greater rate than inflation. So your money is going to be, with the S&P 500, so S&P 500 top 500 companies in America, for those who don't know, has gone up on average of around 10% per year, which is much greater than inflation. And then your balance fund is somewhere sitting in the middle there. So it's usually a bit of a mixture of the two. So maybe 50% of that is in the conservative fund, and then 50% of that is in a growth fund. So you're getting a wee bit of each, adds a little bit of stability and then a little bit of growth. but obviously just mediocre returns.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
How about this? With the current affairs, with the Iran war, if I had money at the moment in
Mm,
KiwiSaver, it's in a growth fund, but it's dropping rapidly.
yeah.
If I was thinking of putting in a conservative just to make sure it doesn't really fluctuate too much, what's your kind of recommendations around
Don't.
that?
I mean, the age-old saying, it's not timing the market, it's time in the market. So we've seen it time and time again for most of the people listening, and most people who born in the 2000s or late 1990s. COVID-19 is going to be a really good example. Everything crashed, and you'll see everything has now since bounced right back up to much greater heights than before. So if you were to jump into a conservative fund during those lows, you're effectively locking in all of those losses, and then when the market does rebound, you're not going to rebound with it. So if you just stayed in one of those funds like a growth fund, then you'll be able to ride that wave, and you'll be able to go, ah, oh yeah, a good shot.
Yeah.
Look at it. This is like that's literally filming it. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you just ride the wave, you'll end up in a much better position.
Yeah.
At the end of it.
Yeah. And that's good. That's good. And like being in a fund type does make such a big difference,
Yeah.
isn't it? I've got a bit of stat here from the FMA.
Right.
Sorry, not from the FMA, just a bit of calculations based on the FMA math on very, very low return values.
Yep.
Which is good, I guess. So it's not like over promising anyone.
Right. So it would actually likely be better than these numbers you're about to tell me.
Well, there's no such thing as actual numbers and investing, but these are rough figures.
Yeah.
So someone 30 years old, $100,000 salary, with a $20,000 KiwiSaver balance at the moment. Obviously with that 3.5% contribution, 3.5% from your employer. In a conservative fund, you expect about $751,000 by the time you retire.
Right.
So that's based on a 2.5% return.
Yep.
An aggressive fund based on 5.5% return, you'll get a $1.33 million by the time you're 65.
Wow. That's a
Um,
huge difference, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like for me right now, if I had an extra was 500 and something $1,000, that'd be a few nice things, right?
Yeah,
It'd be
definitely.
a house.
That's your retirement, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Buy a freehold home in Gore.
Yeah,
Go to
Motueka maybe.
Yeah. That much wake is too expensive.
No. Murchison.
But that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And obviously those are like the real values. So the yeah, like after inflations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you look at like pre-inflation, that's kind of like in a conservative fund it'll be $1.15 million.
Yeah.
An aggressive fund would be $2.6 million.
Yeah.
Which it's $1.45 million of difference.
Wow. So that's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
What's your fund type? Usually when I ask what's your fund type to a client when we're talking about KiwiSaver, they respond, what is a fund type?
Yeah.
And or they tell me Westpac. That's your provider. The name of the company that you're with, that's your KiwiSaver provider. Your fund type is typically going to be the conservative, the balance, the growth.
Yeah.
To clarify.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's something that you like specialize in, which is good. So I guess like if anyone wants to get in touch with you,
yeah, you definitely can. Obviously, we've just recently updated our website, so there's a form online where people can inquire. You just tap book in a consultation, and then it'll put it through to my calendar, and one of the advisors will be in touch.
Cool, beauty, sweet. And why does it matter as well with the PI tax rate, PIR rate? Because obviously I know at the moment you could choose 10.5, 17.5, and 28%. But kind of why having a PI fund is better than me putting money elsewhere in another, say like an income generating investment.
Right. I mean, the big difference here, and this might be getting too into the nitty gritty for a lot of people, but typically, if you're a high earner, you're earning over 70K, I believe is the cap now, your income is going to be taxed at a greater percentage. I think it's 33%, than if you had invested that into a PI fund, which is
Yeah.
taxed at 28%.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Um, Sweet. Well, I guess kind of the biggest takeaway that I've taken out of this is it's all about just having the right fund type
Mm,
and being there for longer.
mm,
I remember reading this thing that Warren Buffett have said. Obviously, one of the greatest
yep,
investors over long term,
yep,
is that he's never been the smartest at picking any stock or any investment. He is just hold out on every one of his investment for the longest period of
yep,
time. Um, so it's just picking the fund type that's right for you, picking the provider that is correct for you as well, that you like, that you enjoy, that you see a long term with,
yep.
then just sticking away at it.
And it, yeah, and it definitely it can be set and forget. KiwiSaver can be set and forget, but you don't want that set and forget to be done without setting it with a professional.
Yeah,
Setting it and forgetting it once you sign that employment contract or when you first sign up, there's no guarantee that it's going to be, and chances are it's not the best position for your KiwiSaver. But after you talk to an advisor, the chances are that they have put you into the best position for the foreseeable future, and you would have had conversations around that as to what you need to do for your KiwiSaver in the future. And at that point, it can be set and forget.
yeah, cool, cool. Well, I guess that's the end of the episode.
Great.
It's really good about KiwiSaver and stuff like that because it's one of those things that there's no, like, what I found, there's not much urgency into KiwiSaver.
Mm.
It's just one of those things that, I'm not going to retire until I'm 65,
Yep.
so that's another 30 years. Why do I care?
Yeah.
And I think another thing as well, like if you think about Australia, they've had one or two generation of people using KiwiSaver
Yep.
as a retirement. So as a child, you see it, you're like, oh, my parents have used it, my grandparents have used it, for example. So I see the value in it. So that's why I need to contribute a bit more.
Yeah. Definitely.
Whereas in New Zealand, obviously, what are we, like 17, 18 years into
Yeah.
um, KiwiSaver, and most people are retiring with $69,000 in their fund. Um, that's with the pension that might go somewhere,
Mm.
but without the pension, that's not going to go very far.
And who's to say that the pension's sticking around?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Probably not in our lifetime, but
Yeah. Yeah.
cool.
Cool.
Well, thank you, and we'll be back.
Thank you.